In recent years, military men have struck and seized power in many African countries, citing various reasons that include corruption, misgovernance, deteriorating security, among others. Sudan, Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali, Guinea, and Gabon have all experienced coups d'etat, which political analysts believe may continue to spread unless urgent measures are taken. Now, some of these measures, according to the experts, include good governance that brings about dividends of democracy, accountability, and respect for the rule of law, free and fair elections, just to mention but a few. Well, we're now joined live by Dr. Vidya Okhai. Dr. Victor Okhai is the presidential candidate, or was the presidential candidate of the Providence People's Congress in the Nigerian 2019 general elections. He joins us to further discuss Africa's leadership crisis. Dr. Okhai, thank you for your time. To start with, can you provide us with insights, from your perspective into the recent surge of military coups in African countries? What do you think is driving this trend?
Thank you for this question. Um, the sudden resurgence of military coup is, for some worrisome, for some welcome. The reasons are varying, but one thing stands out. If you notice a trend amongst many African countries, you have sit-tight leaders, people who don't want to leave, some who have been there for as long as 40 years, and some, many of them are already. One in particular is already 90 and going, and others 80s and all that. So you find a situation where these leaders want to perpetuate themselves continuously in power. Now, these countries have been held in some sort of vice grip. There's no democracy anymore. Yes, you may have a civilian at the head of government, but what you find is what you might call a civilian coup, because obviously the people have no voice anymore. And so what you have is a generation of people who never knew any other leader, and many of them are getting restless, and they're saying enough is enough. And these old leaders are perpetuated, of course, or you might say they're puppets of Western powers who will turn their eyes away when there's a rape on democracy, when these people manipulate results, and so as long as it suits them, it's fine, but this restlessness and rape on democracy is what is giving birth to some sort of unrest among the people. And what causes coups, really, or why coups succeed, is primarily because the people, when the people are not happy with the government, when they will see a subtle or agitation for the military to come and save them, if you like. And when the military come, they are welcomed wholeheartedly. But if you have a good government in place, no one complains and everyone is happy. And if there's any interregnum, any military junta comes, they cannot survive it because the people will rise up as one.
Interesting.
Against them.
Dr. Hai, we mentioned the importance of good governance and accountability as
Yes.
measures that can be taken to address this crisis. How can African nations work towards achieving better governance, and what role can international organizations in particular play to support this?
I don't see when you say international organizations, maybe if we're talking about African organizations, fine, but if we're expecting any support, as is usually the case where you say the EU, the Americans are coming to support democracy in Africa, I don't
UN.
think that, for me, is not, what they're coming to support is any government that will work in their best interests, pure and simple. The only interest they have in Africa is how to plunder and exploit the resources here for their own good too. It's like get the raw materials here to feed their factories and their manufacturing concerns over there. They're not interested in the progress or industrialization of Africa, no. And so any government that will want to help them, achieve their objectives, fine, that's good enough for them. But if we as Africans want to truly make progress, I think that the best thing or the best way to to sustain good governance or government. I don't like using the word democracy because for me right now it's not exactly what it is anymore. What the West call democracy here is whatever suits their interests, not necessarily what's best for Africans. So I think the thing is for us to be able to look inwards and see what we can do that is in our best interest. Some of these countries are beginning to do that right now. Mali is no longer looking to the West. Burkina Faso is no longer looking to the West. Niger is no longer looking to the West. They're saying to themselves, it's time we took our destiny into our own hands. And that's what's happening right now. And frankly, that's the way to go.
Okay. Interesting. Dr. Okhai, free and fair elections are often seen as a cornerstone of democracy. What challenges do African countries face in conducting credible elections, and what can be done to improve the electoral process in these African countries?
Well, one thing that I've found is, one, if we want a free and fair a process, then the people have to be up and about. I mean, when I say this, what I'm trying to say basically is that we cannot sit down and hope that everything will work out itself. Civic education is very important. It's important that people are sensitized. If people are educated, if people are enlightened, they're empowered about their rights and responsibilities, and they know that everyone can aspire to office, and that they must hold their rulers accountable. And people must learn not to sit down and just watch and let things go. Unfortunately, Africans have been divided along tribal and religious lines. And so usually it suits these powers to come and stoke these and use it to divide us. Permit me to just give an example.
Yeah, I'm afraid we've run out of time, Dr.
Oh, no.
But we thank you so much for your analysis. Interesting. You said even the foreign powers are talking about are the reasons why these coups are taking place, because they want to wrest their resource control back from these foreign powers. Interesting. Dr. Victor Okhai is president of the Directors Guild of Nigeria, also the presidential candidate of Providence People's Congress in Nigeria's 2019 general elections. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.